Hi.
Hey, figured it out.
You did. Who knew that you had to become a technical person with your career, right?
Oh man, I'm so bad at it. I've always been bad at tech and I'm just playing catch up now.
Well, it's really cool. I mean, getting a chance to talk to artists this way has been one of I guess one of the small blessings of this COVID-19 thing with the technology, because it does make for a different kind of interview, wouldn't you think?
Oh, definitely. It definitely does. It's cool. I'm learning to adapt. Like I can see you.
Yeah. You get to see how interested or disinterested I might be in an answer.
Exactly. There's no faking anymore.
Yeah, right. I mean, exactly. And phone interviews, it can get, you end up sitting in a room and answering phones and talking to people, and it just kind of breaks up the monotony a little bit. So it's very cool you join us here doing this.
Thanks for having me.
So Death by Rock and Roll. Let's talk about the song for just a second, and the fact that it's unique, I think, to a certain degree, because it's so in your face about death.
Well, I guess yeah, that's one way to look at it. To me, Death by Rock and Roll, it was kind of it's our anthem, it's our battle cry to rock and roll, in the sense of that rock and roll to me is freedom, and I live my life with that ethic of a rock and roll ethic of it's a mentality, it's a lifestyle, it's everything. So it's Death by Rock and Roll to me is live life your own way, go out your own way. No one can tell me any different. Rock and roll till I die.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that word in there, freedom, because it really does lend itself to that when you kind of give up any, I don't want to say consequences, but just when you believe in something so much, and you want to live a certain way, then the end is not something you really consider or think about.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of the whole point, is no one can tell me how to live my life. Like it's my life, so I'm in control of it. And you're obviously not in control of how you died, but I'm gonna do my best to have it be on my terms.
Yeah, I don't want to claim rock and roll necessarily as an Americana kind of thing, but it sort of is lends itself to that to a certain degree, because we certainly have that kind of vibe in America.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I guess yeah. That's a new one, but yeah, I think. I mean, to me, rock and roll. When I say freedom, it's why to me, rock and roll is. I've always been drawn to it because it crosses so many genres without even trying to. Like rock and roll is pop, it's blues, it's jazz, it's all those things encompassed into one. And really, the ethic of it is what makes it rock and roll. Of that mentality of just drivenly straightforward. I'm doing this my way.
Yeah, it's an attitude for sure.
An attitude. Yeah.
And you certainly get that, and I love, man, I love the breakdown of the guitars near the end. It's just, God, man, it gives me goosebumps when I hear it.
Thank
So I would imagine that there's going to be more of that. Would that, could you consider that a theme for what you're putting together for the album?
It's certainly one of the main common themes. Yes, the album delves a lot into. It's a the record's a journey. Death by Rock and Roll is the first song on the album, so it's the first song I wanted to release. It really is just kind of the tip of the iceberg. It's really just the start. It's almost a warm up of where it's about
Mhm.
to go. But the album really is meant to be. I say this every time, but this record in particular is really meant to be listened to front to back, because it really does take you on a journey and kind of completes the story that I think might be pretty interesting for people to follow.
Well, we're excited to get a chance to hear that when that might happen. It's interesting you mentioned that too, because it seems to be a lot of bands these days are starting to conform to that. Hey, you know what? We're just going to release a song here and there and put it up on the streams and that sort of thing. But we've talked a little bit before about how much of a fan of rock and roll you are. And it seems to me like I can't imagine a Pretty Reckless situation where there wouldn't be an entire album. Do you know what I'm saying?
I can't either, unless there was one song that really just stood on its own. But I kind of think all our songs stand on their own. But the reason I love the album so much is it captures a moment or moments of a period in my life. And I think that's so important. I mean, like if I listen to our old records now, it takes me back 10 years to where I was then. So to just put out just songs here and there, it doesn't feel like a full complete package. It doesn't feel like you're getting the whole story, in my opinion.
When you're putting together and you're writing these songs, is there times when you just have to kind of step away from it for a minute or two, just because maybe it's too much and you can't handle it? Maybe.
Definitely. Definitely on this record too. This is a very emotional record for me, and there's definitely moments in the studio, moments while writing, where I was like, this is too much. I need a break for a second. This is too overwhelming emotionally. I need a breather for a minute, and I'll come back to it in an hour or in a week or tomorrow or whatever. But there's definitely some things that get me choked up on the record.
How long does it take for you to get comfortable performing those songs when it gets to being that close to the heart?
Um, well, performing in the studio or performing live?
Live, live. Yeah.
Live, live is different because by the time you play live, I've had time to sit with the songs and live with them. So like the wounds or whatever you want to call them, it's not so fresh. I've I've accepted it. I've gone through whatever process I have to go through. And so once you're at the place where you can release the music publicly to the world and you're comfortable with that, then playing them live is a breeze because it's fun at that point. You're not sitting there in your own head, torturing yourself. It's a performance. It's about, loud guitars, pounding drums, screaming into a microphone audience. Like, it's about that sharing, that connection with the fans and stuff. Um, and yet, while the songs are still personal and sometimes they hit you harder than others on different days, but there's a performance element to it that kind of puts up a mental block that isn't so, a public block that's not so personal in your
Right.
own head. I'm not going to start crying on stage, but in the studio, who knows?
Yeah, no, I totally get that. And as you go on and you sing those songs, and maybe there's a catharsis there and a kind of a healing moment, um,
Right.
what you're talking about. And it's like I feel sometimes, being a radio personality, I kind of get to do that in a certain way too when we tell stories and things like that repeatedly on the air. And I feel like artists and people who have a creative outlet have a chance to really deal with some of those issues differently than maybe just a fan who's listening to music who don't have a chance to tell a story like that.
Definitely. I mean, I think music for me has always been catharsis and kind of a salvation for me. Not just my own music, but listening to music in general since I was a young kid. It's always been the thing that got me through hard times, the thing that got me through great times, and writing certainly has helped me cope with all my so it's my way of working through whatever I'm going through, and it definitely helps with the healing process, I guess, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And so we're talking about, performing. When was the last time Pretty Reckless performed, like full on stage?
Oh God, it's been a minute. I think it's been like 3 years.
Oh my God, it's been
Yeah,
3 years.
I
Oh
think so.
boy.
Yeah, we had we took quite a few hits the past few years, and I kind of we lost a lot of friends, and I went pretty down into a depression, and it took making this new because like I stepped out of the public eye. I just wasn't in a good place to be public, so I took some time and like you said, I mean, the writing of this record and the recording of this record really was almost therapy in the sense that it really helped me work through a lot of what I was going through, and the product is the record. The
Yeah,
outcome of
exactly. And now, I mean, to be perfectly honest, and I don't know if you have an answer to this, but we don't even know when we're going to be able to have live performances again. I don't see anything, nationally touring bands like yourself. It's going to be a while before they get into the middle of the country if they start even before 2021. Everybody's pushing their concerts, and tours back to then.
I know, it's crazy times, man. I don't even I don't know what to say. I mean, I know that it's a real bummer. I mean, we were supposed to be on tour right now. Like, we had some of the best touring lined up in our career. I mean, it was all the festivals, it was the Foo Fighters, it was Guns N' Roses, it was Pearl Jam. The list went on, and we were really excited, after 3 years of basically self quarantine, for myself, I was really ready to get back out into the world and really excited to play the new material live. And the circle doesn't quite feel complete without being able to do that. But we just got to be patient, ride the storm out, wait. I do know that live music and rock and roll it's not gonna go away forever. It can't. It's like it's lifeblood. People need it. Musicians need it. It's so I know that musicians will figure out a way to do it. We'll figure out a way to play. I know they're talking like movie theater drive-in concerts and stuff right now, or right now it's obviously quarantine videos is a big thing, but we'll figure it out. Once I'm just looking forward to once the four of us can get in a room together and just start playing, then the weight will start to lift and we'll figure it out from there.
Yeah, for sure. Have you developed any new hobbies in this time, or where you've been kind of stuck at home?
Not new hobbies, just kind of continuing with what I do. I've been playing a ton of guitar, just for fun. So that's been keeping me busy. Trying to get better at the guitar. I paint a little bit. I sculpt. Been trying to work out. Motivation's dwindling, but I'm working on it. And it's finally, I'm in Maine right now, and it was a rough winter, and it's finally starting to get nice outside. So I'm very much enjoying a little bit of sunlight and trying to get on to the water and like go kayaking and that type of swimming once it actually gets hot. It's too cold for that still, but that'll be nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's like one of those things when you're in a lockdown kind of situation to think, oh, I'm going to really better myself and do things like exercise. And then you're just like, it's just been all junk food and terrible.
Yeah, I definitely have those days. I think it's a balance. It's like everything in moderation. Everyone I think has to treat themselves very kind of sensitively right now because it's a really unprecedented time. It's scary, and I know it's causing a lot of anxiety for everyone around the world. And so I think it's just trying to find a good mental balance of, okay, I'm going to work today, and then I'm going to take a day off, and I'm going to eat crappy for a day and not feel bad about it. And then I'll get back to my schedule the next day. It's just be kind to yourself right now.
Yeah, with so many people who have been kind of stuck at home and isolated a little bit, I kind of think that what I hope happens here is that some of the stigma that surrounds mental health, where a lot of people maybe didn't really approach it in a positive way, can kind of see, hey, I'm without a lot of the things that I love and care about, and it's making me feel weird inside. Maybe they kind of open up and realize, hey, there's some things that I need to address.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always been a stigma with mental health in the sense that maybe it's like people think that means there's something wrong with you, and it's like no, mental health is the same as physical health. It's the same, like you work out your body and you try to eat healthy because that feeds your body and that allows you to keep going and be a healthy person. You have to do the same thing with your mind. You have to feed your mind good things. Like I try to only listen to great music, like just because I don't want to feed myself crap. Like, so, that's just one example, but like you have to feed your mind with things that are going to enrich it.
I will not bug you about what that crap is.
Yeah, I'm not saying any names, but I think.
But I know exactly what you're talking about. That's awesome. Well, Taylor, super thankful for you spending some time with us and doing this here today and talking a little bit about Death by Rock and Roll. And we can't wait to hear more of it. So hopefully that'll happen soon.
It will. There's going to be more songs coming out, and we're just trying to figure out the whole visual aspect of things right now, which I've got things percolating. So stay
All
tuned.
right. All right. Very good. All right. Well, we'll talk to you down the road. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man.
All right. Thanks.
Have a good one. Stay
You
safe.
too. We'll do. You as well. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.